Welcome to Digital Asset News. My name is Rob, and today, as the thumbnail and title suggests, we're going to talk about China and Japan as a kind of reverse course on crypto. And there's another article we'll get to last, which is, can you really survive on $1 million as far as retirement? It's a ridiculous article, but we got to go over it. So the first things first, what we're going to talk about this morning, and first of all, welcome. I appreciate everybody stopping by on a Sunday. There's not really much football going on, so well, American football, soccer football, I have no idea. But what we're talking about today, not to get off track, is China and crypto. And usually when we talk about China and crypto, we see stuff like this. You know, China bans Bitcoin every single year, and there's a big outrage, and people talk about it, and it's like a big nothing burger. Nobody really cares. But what this one was a little bit of a positive side. And you got to stick with me on this one, because it's not like the People's Bank of China or the Republic is coming out saying that they fully endorse Bitcoin. But you have to understand that when somebody says something positive about Bitcoin, especially in that regime, it could mean something, or it could mean not an extravagant amount. But it was just an interesting article. And it talks about how China should reconsider its ban on crypto, says a former central bank official. And here's what we got. Heng Yeping nailed it. Economics professor at China's Peking University and a former member of the monetary policy at the People's Bank of China. He had a transcript, and it was transcribed, and it went like this. He says it's not clear that China's ban on crypto transactions is sustainable in the long term. Short term, sure, because it may lead to missing critical opportunities in the development of digital tech. Alongside the Financial Summit in December, transcript was published on Saturday. The tech related to cryptocurrencies, notice he didn't say blockchain, cryptocurrencies, which include tokenization. I want you to remember that word, tokenization. It's important. Distributed ledger and blockchain are valuable for the regulated financial system. He also pointed the risks related to crypto, which he said do not really function as currencies due to a lack of intrinsic value. That's debatable. I think we can all go over that with Bitcoin, but that's not the point of this video. China's blanket ban on crypto transactions is mainly due to the current challenges it faces from money laundering. To allow the free trading of cryptocurrency and other digital assets will bring more trouble than benefits in the short run. I want you to make sure that you understand he's talking about in the short run, it's going to be kind of a pain because you can money launder. That is true. Does anybody not think we can't do a little money laundering? First of all, has anybody done any money laundering? Raise your hand. You probably haven't. But I'm not going to say that I have or have not. But with crypto, it could be a little bit easier. However, that's the whole point of the public blockchain. Me personally, if I had to money launder, I wouldn't be doing it on the blockchain. It's very public. It seems kind of irrelevant to me, but whatever. And then, of course, this is coming down. It says China issued a ban on all crypto transactions September 2021 and cracked down on crypto trading while promoting its CBDC pilot and blockchain technology. So I just found it interesting that this one word right here, and again, this is from a former member of the People's Bank of China. I don't know how things work over in China. I hear conflicting stories, but it seems like you can't open your mouth, you can't really do too much, and you can't really say too many things without the government cracking down. So if you have somebody who was in the People's Bank of China saying these things, it might be something to consider, that maybe there's a weakening or a crack in the system as far as crypto. But he says this one term, tokenization. Tokenization. And it's funny because it's the exact same thing Larry Fink talked about. Larry Fink is the CEO of Blackrock. It's got, I want to say, 10 trillion assets under management, maybe 11. It's a lot. And this was him in a summit. This was just, actually, it says this was 3 days ago, but I know this was about a month ago. And let's just listen to what he said. It's about 30 seconds.
As we talk right now, I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, that's the big thing, tokenization. It seems like everybody wants to tokenize those types of assets, equities, traditional equities, and what he talked about. If we could do that, I think that right there is one of the killer use cases for crypto. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And then also, speaking of countries, Japan. This is the Prime Minister Fumio Kishida says NFTs and DAOs can bolster the Cool Japan strategy. I didn't know that was a thing, Cool Japan, but apparently it's been around for quite some time. This is what we have. Kishida said NFTs or digital assets can comprise different art forms, including video, help creators to diversify. Interesting. And he was responding to questions by Masaki Tara, nailed it, member of the Liberal Democratic Party and leader of the government's Web3 task force. First of all, Japan has a governmental Web3 task force. I find that amazing too. Kishida added that DAOs, government of the community, can encourage people to convene for social issues. Cool Japan is a term that gained prominence in the early 2000s. It's an initiative that highlights and promotes the country's cultural influence, like J-pop, manga and anime, film or video games. And this was what helped strengthen economic and diplomatic ties with other countries, I guess. Kishida, who assumed his position in 2021, supports digital finance, Web3 adoption in Japan to reinvigorate the economy and what he's called new capitalism. So great. There's a reason why you see a lot of trading in the Asian countries, Japan being one of them. Japan game developers are also getting on the hitch. Konami, the game developing studio behind Metal Gear Solid, added 13 new positions in blockchain ventures. Sega, which we all know if you're old like me, creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, announced in September it's working on its own blockchain-based collectibles games. And Square Enix, Final Fantasy maker, reiterated its commitment to its Web3 venture in January. I got to tell you, if you're looking for some of those killer apps or the killer ways to use crypto and NFTs, gaming is one of them. I think it's going to be one of those things that hopefully can break out. But the problem with games is they're pretty awful right now. I think we can all agree that we've played the Axie Infinities and the stupid games like that. They just kind of suck. But there's some good games coming out. There's one called Alaska Gold Rush, and I have no association with these guys. They did reach out to me and said, "Hey, we're releasing our video or our game. Would you like to cover it?" Oh yeah, sure, I'll cover it at some point. I don't really have much information so far, but I know that what's interesting, first of all, is they got a land sale coming up. I will get in on that. That is for sure. And what I find interesting is that their roadmap, they started all the way back in 2020. And like some games, like, what is that, Star Atlas? Yeah, Star Atlas. I think that's not going to be coming for like 3 or 4 years or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what it was. But in Q1 2023, they're releasing this game. And this game doesn't look like stupid Axie Infinity, and you're not playing for some tokenomics that are unsustainable. I mean, this is from the actual game footage that they released not too long ago. And it looks like just like any game I remember playing on PlayStation. Maybe not PlayStation 4, 3 or 2 or something like that. But I mean, it looks pretty good. And then, of course, with that land sale, then people have to pay your rent. Yeah, it's just interesting. I'll do a video on it at some point, but I just see that games like this, which have like real graphics that people are used to if you're a big gamer. I'm not a big gamer, but that could be promising. Anyhow, and that's that part of the crypto side. Now I just wanted to break down into something, which was I found this article odd, and I just want to run it by everybody. And I'll break it down, but it says 36% of millionaires say it'll take a miracle to retire amid rising costs and a shaky market. And then goes how to get on the right track if you don't have $1 million. Let's be honest. Most of us don't have $1 million. Okay. So most of us watching don't have $1 million. And they're saying right here that even if you have $1 million, you can't retire in that, which I got to say is true. But I got to ask the question, what are you doing with that $1 million? If you have it in the bank, this is not financial advice, but I wouldn't just keep $1 million in the bank. It makes no sense. We'll go to the article. So 58% of people expect they'll have to keep working longer, while 36% worry that retirement may not even be an option. And it talks about how much you need to retire comfortably. And this is the thing. How much do you need to retire comfortably? Like, it depends on where you're at. Like, this is why I can't give financial advice. I don't know who you are. So like some people, if you're in like your 18s, 19, 20, mid 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, like you can probably take some more risks. Again, I'm not telling you to take risks. I'm just saying. But if you're up there in years, like how much do you retire comfortably? The next question is, where are you retiring at? Like personally, I'm not going to retire in New York or Austin, Texas, or Los Angeles for crying out loud. I'm going to pick some places. Well, first of all, the weather's better, and someplace where it's not so god awful expensive. So then you can really reduce that amount. And that's just something to think about. But the big thing here, and it's pretty sage advice, pay down your debt. Before you think about bolstering your retirement savings, get any debt cleared. Whether it's your mortgage, that's tough. Student loans or credit card debt, and that's big. Credit card debt. If you're sticking on like credit card debt at 20%, 19, 20, 25, what are you doing? But try to get that away. I try not to have any credit card debt. I use credit cards for everything. When I'm buying things, I like the points, and it's paid off at the end. Do your best to pay your bills on time and in full each month. Most advisors will suggest tackling your highest interest loans first, which makes sense. If you got a credit card at like 30%, then you probably want to get it to one that's maybe 5%. Just saying. You might then consider rolling all your balances into a single loan with a lower interest rate. I don't know if that's even possible these days. But if you had one a couple of years ago, you probably want to stick with that if it's that low. Make a plan. Don't underestimate what you need for health and long-term care. This is very true, even if I get older, because you got to think about, well, am I in a place where it's socialized medicine in Europe, or am I in a place like America where I have to pay through the nose for insurance? And the big thing, the whole thing I wanted to get to is this: start investing. Like, if you have $1 million, here's the thing: if you have $1 million in the bank, what are you doing? Like, it's not gonna generate any money for you. So why would you just have $1 million in the bank as we inflate it away? Now, some people say, well, I don't want to invest into any kind of stocks or crypto because, we just saw what happened with crypto. Went down 70, 80, 90, 95%. So why do that? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying get into some type of asset that is appreciating over time. With crypto, you might have to wait a little bit more time. With real estate, which what me and my wife do, it works out pretty well because we're not sticking our funds in a bank. We have it onto short-term, long-term rentals, and that just generates income, and then the asset appreciates. So I just thought it was interesting. I'm like, I can understand why if you're a millionaire with $1 million in the bank and you're like, I can't retire. Well, yeah, because that money is not really working out for you. It's not doing anything. And the highest amount that you can actually get into it is if you have a business right now that's growing, the business that you do, if you put money in that, that'll can't say that. A lot of times, sometimes, when you start to double down on yourself, it pays bigger dividends. That's all I'll say about that. Not that I'm saying every business is going to make it. So set realistic expectations if you're close to retirement age, and stay conservative. If you're just starting out, you might consider taking more risk to maximize your returns. And the last one is don't listen to a guy who's talking to his computer in front of a really nice green screen. Get financial advice from someplace else. And the big thing I just wanted to make mention was this: diversify. I dollar cost average everything. A lot of it's in cash right now. We just started to regularly DCA as of a couple of days ago. But a lot of it's in cash because I was kind of hoarding it a little bit. But 1% in stables. I got 5% in DGen plays, 4% in Masterworks, fractionalized art, land and real estate make up the bulk. Amazon business, crypto, IRA, and stocks. So I just like to diversify a little bit, and that's what gets me through. And that's it for today. So look, that concludes the part about the crypto news and retirements, all that stuff, which is just an interesting article. I don't know why people think they can retire for $1 million. Well, it depends on where you're at. If you're in Thailand, probably do pretty well. But that is it for today. So if you like today's video, thumbs up, consider subscribing. Now we'll get into the most fun part of the show, which is Q&A. So I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities, and we'll go from there. Before I go on, I would just like to make mention of one thing, and that is after this, come over with me to Tom Crown. He's going to be doing a live stream. Oh, he just started like 4 minutes ago. So good guy if you're into trading. I'm not. I just find him entertaining and maybe something to check out. And actually, you know what? You got to search for Tom Crown. I'll put a link in the description. So after this, we'll just all shoot over there. But let's do some Q&A, huh?